Dar por hecho. Dar por hecho. Dar por hecho. Dar por hecho means to take for granted. That also happens. That also happens. And dar is a good verb, a very, very useful verb that means to give. Okay. But we're not talking about giving here. When you add por, that means for. Okay. Por can also mean by or because of in some situations. We're not talking about that literally. We have it here. Hecho. Hecho can mean fact. Okay. Fact or made. Hecho en México. Made in Mexico. Hecho en Estados Unidos. Made in America. Or, the United States. So it can mean quite a few things, hecho. But dar por hecho as a phrase means to take for granted. So that is interesting for sure. So let's look at some examples using dar por hecho. This means, the example is, no des por hecho tu salud. Very, very short example, but it's very good. No des por hecho tu salud. No des por hecho tu salud. This means don't take your health for granted. It happens. Some people think that they can just do whatever, eat whatever they want, not exercise, and they're healthy now, but who knows later on, right? Who knows if they might lose that health, which we should not take for granted. Definitely. So let's break this down and let's see how this sentence works. No can mean don't, can mean no, can mean want, can mean didn't. So no has multiple meanings and all of them are negative. So you're just saying no, don't, want, no. Okay. Didn't as well. So no des is the verb dar conjugated. Okay. Des por hecho. Okay. Des, let me tell you that it's pretty much a command, it's pretty much a command. You're just saying, just don't do something, right? So don't take for granted. Okay? No des por hecho tu means your salud, health. Remember the sound at the end when saying salud. Okay, so that's an important sound. And yeah. So this is dar in the subjunctive, present subjunctive. So this, okay? No des por hecho tu salud. Don't take your health for granted. Now, let's look at the next example using this. Didn't want to do that. Using dar por hecho. Remember, you need to know the conjugation of the verb dar if you want to use this phrase. The other example is hago tanto por él y simplemente da por hecho nuestra relación. So this is a more complex example. This is more complex. We're talking about relationship, okay? So hago tanto por él y simplemente da por hecho nuestra relación. It means, this whole thing means I do so much for him and he just takes our relationship for granted. So it happens. It happens. That's another thing. If we're talking about things like health, work, I don't know, relationships, this phrase is great for those situations. You cannot say, or it's not commonly used for people, like specifically, because I know in English you can say, don't take me for granted, which is fine. It works in English, but dar por hecho doesn't work for that specific situation. So we're just talking about relationships and things like health, work, and just concepts, not people, okay? Or things that can be, like subjective. So keep that in mind, like health, youth, right? Work, you cannot give that, you cannot take that for granted, okay? So we're talking about those things specifically. So let's break this down. Let's see how this phrase works in this last example. Hago. I love the sound of that. Hago. Hago comes from the verb hacer, okay? Hacer, and hacer means to do. Yo hago la comida, and also it means to make. I make the food, or I'm making food. It's similar to saying that. Hago la tarea. I'm doing homework. So hago can mean to do, to make, or in some situations making or doing, okay? So keep that in mind. It's interesting. The verb hacer. Hago, you can say yo hago. We don't need yo, we need hago, the verb, and that means I do. Tanto means so much. Tanto. And it doesn't change, okay? It can be plural, tantos, or singular, tanto, and that's it. You don't change it. There's no feminine. Well, actually, there's feminine, tanta comida, so much food. So I'm sorry about that. It can be feminine, masculine, and plural as well. So tanto in this situation means so much. Por, él with an accent mark, that means him or he, okay? Y and simplemente can mean just or simply, okay? It can mean quite a few things, but in this situation is similar to saying just, okay? But it also means simply. We don't have a he again here because we have it once over here. So again, we don't use personal pronouns all the time. We can use them like first one time and then we forget about them. Simplemente da. Okay, so this means he just takes in the situation, because we're talking about por hecho, dar por hecho. Simplemente da por hecho. He just takes for granted something, right? Nuestra means our, nuestra comida, our food, nuestra relación, our relationship. So, relación means relationship. Nuestra relación. Now, you can actually say simplemente da nuestra relación por hecho. So, por hecho can go at the end. Okay, so you can put it here after relación. And that also works. It's flexible. This phrase is flexible. So just like we have it here in English, that you put the noun in the middle, like here, in the middle of the phrase, you can do the same in Spanish. So you would move this in the middle of the phrase we're learning, after dar, okay? Just like that. Hago tanto por él y simplemente da nuestra relación por hecho. Okay? So I do so much for him and he just takes our relationship for granted. So yeah, either way works. It's perfect. It works in Spanish. So remember, dar por hecho means to take for granted. To take something for granted.